So Kamala continues to climb in the polls and taking a lesson from Taylor Swift, brushing off all of Donald's weak and pathetic attempts to box her in, or insult her or trigger her into comment. Well, we've all always known he's a loser, but his always winning message is starting to crumble while he hides on the golf course, where the only people who can see he doesn't have balls are his caddy and his golf cart. Meanwhile, his big successful endorsement from RFK Jr., the second craziest man on the campaign trail, I think, Mr. Dare-dumping, whale-decapitating, falconer, anti-vaxxer, conspiracy theorist RFK fought so hard to get onto the ballot in some of these key states, and now he has to bring a lawsuit to get himself off of some of these states, swing states like North Carolina.
He's now trying to get off the ballot, and he's brought a suit against the North Carolina Board of Elections to get off, because, he says, his being on the ballot could siphon votes away from Trump, and he would just hate it, would RFK Jr., if, he would be the cause in close swing states of having votes go to a Democratic Party and platform that he has very grave objections to.
He told everybody in the rest of the states to keep voting for him even after he'd withdrawn, because he's hoping to siphon away those votes from Democrats that he suddenly hates with a passion. But he can't get off states like Michigan and Wisconsin without dying. So good luck, RFK. And while they're trying to get one candidate on a ballot or off a ballot, they've got to do a whole bunch of shady shit to try and get another third-party candidate onto the ballot. It's been discovered that there's a group called People Over Party who have been pushing with legal experts and party officials to get these third-party candidates onto ballots in these states. They've been discovered to be funding Cornel West's efforts to stay on the ballot.
Let's get into the details of who's funding Cornel West and his effort to get on the ballot. Here we go. Italo Medelius, interesting name, was leading a volunteer drive to put Cornel West on North Carolina's presidential ballot last spring, when he received an unexpected call from a man named Paul who said he wanted to help. Though Medelius, co-chairman of West Justice for All Party, welcomed the assistance, the offer would complicate his life, provoking threats and drawing him into a state election board investigation of the motivations, backgrounds, and suspect tactics of his new allies. Hamrick serves as counsel for the Virginia-based nonprofit People Over Party, which has pushed to get West on the ballot in Arizona, Maine, Minnesota, Pennsylvania, and Virginia, as well as North Carolina, records show. In an interview, Hamrick declined to say who else besides him was orchestrating the effort, and he would not divulge who was funding it. Though he insists he is not a Republican, Hamrick voted in Alabama's Republican primary in 2002, 2006, and 2010, according to state voting records maintained by the political data firm L2. He was tapped briefly in 2011 to work for the Alabama State Senate Republican majority, and since 2015, according to federal campaign finance disclosures, he has contributed only to GOP causes, including $2,500 to the Alabama Republican Party and $3,300 to Georgia Representative Mike Collins, a Republican who has trafficked in conspiracy theories.
Pretending not to be Republican, pretending to be independent and non-affiliated, but he's been around since the 2000s with a group called Matrix LLC, who were running these third-party candidates, and it was industry-funded. So now this group, Justice for All Party, who are funding Cornel West's efforts, paying for signatures, and in some cases even forging signatures. An Arizona woman had her signature forged as one of their alternate electors at the last minute, trying to get him on the ballot, but it was too late. So before Biden dropped out in New Hampshire, they thought they were going to have that one marginally, but they thought they had New Hampshire. And a month later, the vice chair of the GOP there says that they'll have to pull all of their resources out, and they're not bringing any of the big names or surrogates into the state anymore, but he thinks that they're going to lose now.
Donald Trump's campaign is now virtually pulling out of the swing state of New Hampshire. They're no longer sending surrogates there. Donald Trump will not be visiting the state there, and they're not spending resources to try to win the state. This was something that they previously thought that they could win. They thought they could win New Hampshire when Biden was the candidate, and they thought that they could win New Hampshire in 2020 and 2016, but now in 2024, it's not looking too good.
By a wider margin than in 2016. And of course, this has them all panicked and denying this and saying, oh, he's just a volunteer, don't listen to him.
So we got this report that you can see on your screen right now from the Boston Globe this evening, and the headline says, top Trump volunteer in Massachusetts no longer with the campaign after warning New Hampshire is, quote, no longer a battleground state. Fascinating. It's fascinating. So a top Trump volunteer in Massachusetts will, quote, will no longer have any involvement in the campaign after he sent an email Sunday evening raising alarm about the Republican ticket's chance in neighboring New Hampshire. Al Mountain, a former official with the Massachusetts GOP, said Trump was sure to lose by an even higher margin in New Hampshire than in 2016 and in 2020, citing campaign data and research. He claimed resources would be suspended and the campaign would not send Trump or high-profile surrogates such as his sons. The email was obtained by the Globe and confirmed with multiple recipients. Now that is stunning.
Nothing happening in New Hampshire. He hasn't been there in months and months. They haven't spent any money there. So New Hampshire, bye-bye. And to cap it all off, his much maligned, controversial J6 Awards Gala, which he wasn't even going to appear at himself. The coward, the emperor with no balls, wouldn't even go to his own ball for these criminals. Citing it's been postponed indefinitely now from the New Jersey location because of the safety concerns they have for attendees. Oh, Donald. You just live in your little fantasy land and let your best people figure it all out.